Bill Wallace, it is an honour and a pleasure for you to be at the UK Martial Arts Show in Doncaster 2023. Thank you so much for coming.
My pleasure, thank you.
How many times can you remember you've been coming to this show now?
Since its inception. Was that 8, 9 years, something like that? I've been, you know, I've lost count of times I've come over, but I have a blast every time I come over. I meet new friends, keep the old ones sometimes. Sometimes you just get rid of them. But, you know, I have a blast. I'm having a ball.
Yeah. Over your years, you've seen many martial arts come and go, and sadly, some of them are not with us now, but you have your wonderful memories of some of the greats.
I do.
So, as a passion of mine with martial arts, I'd like you to talk about yourself and some of them when you've worked together with them and your fights with them.
Well,
so basically the first one I'd like you to talk about is Joe Louis.
Joe Louis and I, you know, we met in 1968 at the United States Grand Nationals in Kansas City, Missouri. And I was just sparring with some guys, and he was sparring with somebody. And I didn't pay any attention because I knew who he was, but, you know, I'm worried about my face. And somebody, you know, he walks up and says, "Where'd you learn to fight like that?" And I says, I studied in Okinawa. "Where?" And I said, "Naha, Kadena." I was at Kadena Air Base. I was in the service, and I practiced in Naha, Eizo Shimabuku School. He says, "That's where I studied." I said, "Really?" He said, and from that moment on, we became friends. Traveled all over the world together, fought each other several times, sparred, fight, competed against each other, and traveled all over. And probably the toughest one guy that I've ever sparred. Now, I'm a competitor. I'll win. But oftentimes when you win, you really don't, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And I was a super competitor because I just wanted to win, not at any cost, but I was good. My distancing was good, my timing was good, and Joe was just one tough son of a gun. And we loved him. I just hate the time when he died.
Yeah. The next one, of course, you did a movie with, but you were actually in the ring with him in kickboxing, and that was Chuck Norris. Can you tell us a little bit about Chuck, who's still around?
Well, yeah, Chuck and I did a film in 1978. We'd been friends before because I studied also in California in San Bernardino and went to a couple tournaments he was at and some places where we trained together. And he stopped by the school when I was working for some guy in Memphis, Tennessee. And he come by and he says, "What are you doing in October?" And I says, "I have no plans." He says, "Well, I'm going to do a movie, and he would like me to be the bad guy." And I said, "I can do that. I can be a bad guy." So we talked and talked and talked. He says, "Could we spar?" And I said, "Sure." Now at that time, 1978, I was at the top of my game. And I said, "We'll just spar." So we kicked everybody out of the school. It was just he and I. And we sparred for an hour and a half, 2 hours. And we had an absolute ball. Nobody will ever know what happened. Nobody needs to know. It was between Chuck and I. We had a blast. I'm not going to say anything. He's not going to say anything. We just had a blast. And then we decided that I was going to be the bad guy in the film. And I went out to L.A. We did the film October, November, December. Yeah. And it premiered in January.
The guy who was behind that movie was Pat Johnson, and you had fought Pat in a couple of times.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a bit about Pat? Because he's not so well now, is he?
He's got a little dementia.
Yeah.
You know, wonderful guy, nicest guy in the world. Great teacher, great choreographer.
Yeah.
When we did the fight scenes, you know, the first time I'd ever done anything, I didn't know anything about it at all, but I knew the things that I could do good. You know, like with the kicking aspect of it. And Pat said, "Well, we want you to do this, and we do this, and you do this." And I said, "Well, Pat, I've defended my title 20 times. I haven't lost yet." And I said, "This is what I would do. I wouldn't do it the way you want me to do it. And if you want this thing to be realistic, which I hope you do,
yeah,
I would do it this way. And Chuck, you know how I'm going to do it, so you'll be able to react to it so it looks like it's a good fight scene, not a choreographed fight scene." And matter of fact, a lot of people say it's one of the best fight scenes I've ever seen because we sparred. We actually threw the stuff at each other to hit each other.
Yeah. Fantastic. Let's just touch on, of course, your other famous fight, which is the one with Jackie Chan that he actually took you to Hong Kong for.
He killed me. He cheated.
Can you
He
tell us
used
how-
cups. He used a chainsaw. He used a metal bender. I'm using. He cheated.
What was it like working with Jackie?
A nice guy, wonderful, wonderful, wonderful person. I went over there. We were getting ready to choreograph the fight scenes, and he says, "Bill, I want to do this and this, and when I do this, and you do this, and I'll do that." And I said, "Can I say something, Jackie? I don't want to, upstage him or anything, but because he's been doing this a long time." And I said, "You brought me over here. Who am I in the script? I'm the retired world champion. You're a New York City policeman. That's it. And if we have a nip and tuck fight all the way through it, people are going to say, well, so much for being a karate world champion. You have trouble fighting a New York City policeman, even though it might be Jackie Chan."
Yeah.
So I said, what I should do is beat the crap out of you for the first 3/4 of the fight scene. When I get, cocky and all this stuff, I do something stupid, and you take advantage of it. And that's what we did, and it was great. I just want to know where, at the end of the fight scene, where the chainsaw came from.
One obscure film that people might forget is you were in a film called Death Dimension. Do you remember much about that?
What's the name of it?
Death Dimension. We have it labelled as Death Dimension over here, but I don't know if you remember.
Who's in it?
Oh, gosh. Harold Staccato was in it and a few others. I think you only had a small scene in it.
Jim Kelly.
Jim Kelly was in it.
Oh, probably L.A. Street Fighters.
Might be, yes.
Probably L.A. Street Fighters. You had a small scene of it, yeah. They're great. I was out there, they were out there, and it's cheap when it's like that, because they don't have to pay for any airfare or flight. So we just had fun. And there's a lot of films that are put together like that out there in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
That are sitting in a can up on the. Pretty soon somebody will say, hey, let's take some of this one, some of this one, some of this one, and make a full-length feature.
Oh, well,
And it'd be great.
I think that was exactly what that was.
Yeah.
Kickboxing. What do you feel the legacy of kickboxing is? Because you've seen it come from nowhere, and martial arts just being a martial arts sort of like points fighting, and then right through to kickboxing. Can you tell us what you think the
back
legacy
in the
is?
60s
Yeah.
and early 70s, it was point fighting. The techniques may be good, may be bad. We didn't know because we had to control the technique. So back then, some of the visionaries wanted to find out if some of these techniques really worked in kickboxing. So the first 3 or 4 matches, we wore this safety equipment. So we found out that back fist might work, that the ridge hand would work, and the punches would work, maybe. Right? Then we found out that when you do some of these techniques with the gloves on, with the pads on, they're not very effective. So we said, well, what does work with gloves? Boxing techniques. So we got rid of the karate techniques because you've got pads on. Like a reverse punch or a karate punch is designed to penetrate the body. You've got an 8-ounce glove on or a 10-ounce glove on, you can't penetrate the body. Now you got to change it, like a concussive type movement. And the jab is more effective than the back fist now. Now my kicks are the same. Side kick, round kick, hook kick. But the boxing techniques became mine. I took regular boxing techniques, changed to a jab and a hook, because I fight sideways.
Right. And what do you feel is the legacy of kickboxing is today?
I think it's growing by leaps and bounds. We started the PK again in the United States, so they're going to come up with some really good fights. Some of the guys in England will be invited. Some of the guys in Jamie will be invited. A lot of the guys are very, very good fighters. Come over to the United States, get on national television. Come over here to England, get some national television. I think it'll be fantastic. I'm really for it.
Do you remember your fights that
Every one of them.
filmed on television, and they used to
Every one of them.
put them on, and I used to watch you in awe.
I never watched one of them. I was there. I mean, it sounds terrible, but I was there. And I've watched fights before, some of it, and I go, you stupid idiot! Why'd you turn that way? I'm very critical.
Yeah.
So when I'm watching the fights, I'm doing this, and people that watch it with me, they move, because what are you doing? I said, well, I made a mistake. I did this. I did that. There's a fight scene, or one of the fights. I'm fighting Blinky Rodriguez. He throws a left hook from way back there. It's like one of these things. So I say, I got it blocked. Well, it's about this far from my chin. And he goes, boom, right, and I go, ooh, what are those birds floating around up there? I came back and won, but I went, whoa, shit. So that's where the card goes. So you can learn something, but I'm too critical of myself.
Well, okay. Getting back to the show, you've now done so many shows, and everybody still turns up religiously, and you must have a massive following. How does that make you feel?
The people are great. I mean, I love to interact with the people. I love to teach. Love to do the seminars. I learned when I was in the service. And in the service, if anybody's been in a service out there, you've got two jobs. Your job during the day, that's your military job. Then at night, when you're off work, you either find something to do or go get drunk with your buddies. Number one, I don't drink. So I had to go find something to do. And to find the something to do was judo, because I was a wrestler in high school and college.
Right.
I played judo up until I went to Okinawa. I hurt my knee in Okinawa, so that took care of my judo career. But a friend says, hey, there's a karate school downtown. Let's go check it out. Hence the karate.
Bill, thank you very much, but I'll just ask my director, is there anything you want to ask?
Yeah, could I ask a question
Surely.
About the Protector, Bill? It's very famous that there's an American version of your
Chinese version, yeah.
And a Chinese version. How did Jackie approach you to ask you to film that additional footage?
We filmed the original American version in about 2 months, 2.5 months. Then I flew home. I fly back in December. I'll spend another 3 weeks there, at the 1st of December, doing the Chinese version. And it's different for Americans, because the American is bam, 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 just knock the hell out of each other, right? So it's exciting. The Chinese version is block, 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 like strike. Block, 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 strike. And I went, yeah. Because to Americans, that's like, who's going to believe that? But that's what they're used to doing, so that's what we did. We took a brand new Mercedes and beat the hell out of it. I was supposed to, I knocked him against the hood of the Mercedes, the bonnet, and I come down with an axe kick, and he moves out of the way. And first time I pulled it a couple times. He says, no, don't pull it, because we want to see the dent. It's the producer's Mercedes. And I went, no, you don't. Oh, yeah, we do. Yeah, we do. Well, you guys are sick. So I go, yeah, bam. I put a dent about yay deep in the Mercedes. He said, perfect, because the film stuck right on the dent. The producer got a little pissed off. He said, what'd you do to my car? It can be fixed. Not very easily. But the best part about it is, Jackie wanted to spar. Now, he did a movie before me with Benny Urquidez called Meals on Wheels. And Ben and I talked, and Benny asked him to spar. And if you know anything at all about Benny Urquidez, he is one tough son of a gun. A tough son of a gun. But he's easy to hit. So Jackie would hit him a couple times. Therefore, Jackie thinks that he could take him. I said, Jackie, just listen to me. Benny's easy to hit. Everybody that's ever sparred him has hit him. But one of these times he's going to throw a punch, you're going to throw a punch, or a kick. When you pull it back, Benny's still going to be on the end of it. He's going to look at you and says, sorry, Jackie, my turn. And you don't want it to be his turn. You don't want it to be his turn. So I said, that's what it is. And he asked me to spar. So I sparred with him nice and easy. We had a good time.
Bill Wallace, thank you very much for your time.
My pleasure. Thank you. Enjoy martial arts, everybody. It's fun kicking people.